Hi Sarah, how are you?
Good, thanks, Eva.
Thanks for coming on to A New You.
Oh, that's fine. It's a really exciting opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. So can you just let us know how you got to this place where you find yourself at the moment?
Well, as you know, I've been working with virtual reality for quite a while, probably 5 or 6 years now, having initially worked in live performance. So as a choreographer, I've always worked with dancers, and I've been very much interested in including those dancers in the creative process, and if possible, using techniques through technology to allow those dancers to make their own choices in performances in real time. So in working with virtual reality, what was wonderful was the participant, the person in the headset, became the audience and also the dancer at the same time. So that was very exciting for me for the last 5 or 6 years since studying a PhD in dance digitisation. And the capacity for that started to broaden, and I was wondering where does that land? Does it stay in the performing arts world with festivals, maybe galleries, museums, or can I start to sort of extend the capacity of working with virtual reality and movement to start to think about rehabilitation and perhaps very directed clinical trials. So I'd always worked with a person called Daish. What's Daish's last name? Remind me. Daish Mullaney from AdLife Technologies, and he'd been developing VR works for people with stroke. So as a rehabilitation device, he had taken his skills in art and design and music, and had started to create tasks for people to do with brain injury. And as a collaborator, he continued to help me with interaction for VR for anyone. But I kept thinking about how he was working with people with stroke, and I started to think, well, I'd like to work in the same way. So my last project that you were involved in, Agiles, it began with the idea that not only it could be an arts project, but it could also perhaps be extended into rehabilitation or clinical trials.
Absolutely. So Daish is how you and I met or reconnected after many, many years. And so do you see your work complementing his, or do you see your work as something that could be added to his in a package?
I think it could be added to his, and we've continued to speak about it. He's always looking for content and ways to continue to add to his portfolio of tasks. So I think that's potentially a partnership in the future.
What motivates your explorations? Your work with movement has moved certainly into different spaces, which is wonderful because that's afforded by the technology around us right now. Where do you want to go with your explorations?
Well, I think just to go back a bit, I mean, where I'm coming from is movement, and I enjoy moving and I enjoy dancing, and I'm really keen on facilitating that experience for other people. So whether it's through sort of community workshops or dance classes or dance events, or what I like to do with the VR is create tasks so that people move. That's my main motivation. That's probably not for them. For them, it is to try a new experience. And if we can create a scenario that encourages people to move through tasks and through music, then they're going to find themselves moving in ways that they may not have before, or ways that they didn't realise they enjoyed so much. So I'm combining movement and creativity for those experiences for anyone, but also, perhaps people doing rehabilitation, they might want to have something that is a little bit more enjoyable than physio exercises, or physio exercises combined with creativity. And as you know, we've been working with Belinda Lange from Flinders University, and her background is physio, but she also has a love of the arts and creative movement. So together, if you think about the including the physio and the way to move that might enhance those body brain connections, plus creativity and a love of music, then I hope to continue in this direction.
I think it's really, really exciting because it's basically, it's physio repackaged in a way, isn't it? Yeah. It's a way of repackaging physio so that the participant, so that the person using the technology is actually motivated to move in ways that perhaps they haven't, or perhaps they thought that perhaps they can't after an injury, after a stroke. I can see, this is what excites me so much about this, because physio in and of itself can be kind of boring, especially if somebody isn't versed in movement like you and I perhaps were. I got great enjoyment out of learning how to move again, but there are lots of people where the task may be onerous or the task may be not enjoyable. So I can see this VR program as being something that can open up the world of movement to people perhaps that haven't tried it before.
That's right. We're bridging that problem with motivation by actually making something enjoyable at the time. So it's great to have the end goal of more mobility, and that can be motivating. But right then and there, enjoying the actual task or enjoying the experience, I think is just as important.
Right, so you're working with Belinda Lange. How do you foresee perhaps the partnership with her spilling over into this project, and how do you foresee this project heading in this direction?
Well, with this project was sort of self-initiated by an idea I had, and then conversations with you. And we needed to land at, we needed an organisation, a university, to help fund the research. And so Assemblage, which is a research centre for the arts at Flinders University, were offering interdisciplinary collaborative artist residencies, which seemed to fit what I wanted to do, and were quite keen. They're also quite supportive of arts health collaborations. So in looking at working with the motion capture technologies and the virtual production studio, I then looked around at Flinders to see who might be interested and put my feelers out, and Belinda was certainly someone who came to mind and who was very enthusiastic. So that's how the partnership started. And of course we were very lucky with that partnership, that we also had another partnership with UniSA, which is great because that's more local. It was in the city, and also had a motion capture suite if we needed it. And the Australian Network of Art and Technology, or ANAT, also came on board with a bespoke residency to help publicise and promote our activities, which were, still at very prototype stage, and we had to be quite brave and open to put those photos online of us dagging around our tracksuits trying to work out what type of movement
with motion capture on us,
and the motion capture suits.
Yes.
So I
thought that was very exciting.
It was, yeah.
So this has great potential, hasn't it? It's got great potential into turning into something that can change people's perceptions of their journey. Because obviously when somebody acquires a disability like a brain injury or a stroke, their worlds are transformed in 1 second. But these using technology like this, using projects like this gives the person the opportunity to grab hold of their recovery and to shape it in the way that they want it to be.
Well, that's true. Look, the prototype we created is step one, and we are now looking for opportunities to scale it up. So whether that be through more university research, or in this case it probably will be the universities and the arts projects, and we'll try and find a plan forward. We've also done some user studies that can inform the process. So we did one lot of user studies at MOD, so that's the Museum of Discovery, an arts science museum in Adelaide that's part of UniSA, where people could walk through the door and have a try, and we collected some simple data about usability, how easy is it to use. And then we did a second study with the Restless Dance Theatre, and that was so much fun. They are professional artists of a very, very high level, but they also have mixed abilities, so with or without disabilities. So they were very keen to trial the application, and we learned a lot from that, which was more of a qualitative study. We didn't ask people to tick boxes. We had a chat, we took video, and so with that information we can sort of go forward, checking both usability and also creative, how creative is it as a tool, where should we go next.
Wonderful. Could you perhaps describe the work that we did at the void space in Flinders University, because that was quite overwhelming space to walk into and to be lambasted with that sort of technology. That just seemed every day for the people that were in there. But it's such high level stuff, isn't it?
It is. Look, they have a Vicon motion capture setup that has the capacity to pick up the movement from actors, mostly because it's connected to the drama centre at Flinders University. So the actors learn how to create movement specifically for animation characters, or mostly sort of animation, whether it be TV commercials or kids TV or video games, that type of thing. And what's, I think, impressive is that they've got a huge display there, LED display. So not only can you see yourself, you can't usually see yourself really in those kind of situations. They take the movement, and then later a developer like Alex Agaris, who worked with us, would put that within an animation skin. But we could actually see it live in real time on the LED. And so if we wanted to play further in that world, they can put different skins on. I think Scott was in a Ultraman kind of skin outfit, so which was slightly distracting. But
then he turned into one of his characters.
Well, that's right. So then when Alex brought the visuals in, we could actually use the visuals that we had, the aesthetics that we had chosen to use. So it's quite a playful environment, I'd say.
Yeah, playing with the big guns.
Yes. It made us feel very professional.
How can we utilise this program for improving, say, people's balance or the way that they coordinate?
Yeah, they are two goals that are very important, both balance and coordination. And so what a 360 environment can do, or an immersive environment especially can do, is allow someone to focus very specifically on visual and audio and even other sensorial cues in isolation somewhat. So you can, away from the outside world, you can focus very specifically on visual or audio cues, and if both direct and creative enough, that should motivate someone to move in a very specific way. So, we might have a floating object here, and the task might be to move it from here to here. And if we can do that in a fun way, maybe it leaves a trace, and then it's fun enough to repeat and maybe try different qualities. It doesn't put the physio or the healthcare specialist out of the loop, because they need to be there to guide the experience and to encourage the experience as well. Perhaps to ask, do it harder or reach further. But it's very direct, and so you can sort of simplify without sort of the outside noise. Now, we have worked with AR, so that means that you can see the outside world, but what that does is it helps to orientate the body in space. So back to balance, if you can see the floor, you feel a lot more comforted that you can stand on the floor. If you can see the walls, you don't feel like it's it's infinite and overwhelming. So with that in mind, and then still having these digital entities or artifacts in space with specific ideas about what you can do or press or reach, this is how we hope to go forward with this type of technology.
I think this is really exciting.
Cool.
I think this is really exciting, and I think we could break new ground for sure and put Adelaide/Australia back on the map again.
Great.
Thanks, Sarah.
No worries. Thank you.